There's a myriad of them, but one in particular I remember, probably about third grade. We had this teacher, Miss Heron, and she said, we were learning about the word minority.
A palpable hush, thick with disbelief and shock, has descended over certain power circles in Hollywood. Those who truly understand the intricate web of celebrity relationships and carefully curated public images are not merely surprised, they are utterly stunned. The source of this seismic tremor, none other than Rob McElhenney, a figure previously synonymous with comedic camaraderie and on-screen chemistry alongside Ryan Reynolds. Now, McElhenney has reportedly, and against all expectations, ripped back the velvet curtain on what he alleges is a meticulously crafted hidden agenda. And at the heart of this unfolding drama, the seemingly untouchable golden couple of Hollywood, Ryan Reynolds and his radiant wife, Blake Lively. For weeks, insidious whispers have been circulating amongst industry insiders, hinting at a clandestine plan masterminded by this duo, who have long projected an image of effortless perfection. Yet, these rumors remain just that, whispers in the wind, lacking concrete form or credible confirmation. It wasn't until Rob McElhenney, a trusted voice from within their inner circle, stepped forward that anyone could truly begin to connect the dots, to piece together the fragmented puzzle of this unfolding saga. The shockwave reverberating through Hollywood is amplified exponentially by the very nature of Rob and Ryan's relationship. They are not simply colleagues or casual acquaintances, they are comedic brothers in arms, a beloved duo whose joint ventures have not only entertained millions, but have solidified their image as genuine friends, both on and off screen. Now, the usually unflappable entertainment industry is in a state of near frenzy, desperately attempting to decipher a situation that morphs into something more perplexing and unsettling with each passing revelation. If Rob's account, however unbelievable it may initially seem, holds even a kernel of truth, then the meticulously constructed picture-perfect facade that Ryan and Blake have so expertly cultivated for years is nothing more than an elaborate smokescreen, concealing a level of calculated intrigue, strategic manipulation, and perhaps even a touch of ruthlessness, far deeper and more disturbing than anyone in the public sphere could have ever conceived. This isn't just celebrity gossip, this is a potential Hollywood earthquake.
I mean, I internalized that as opportunity. We had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something and to have the opportunity to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yes.
As someone who is so deeply passionate myself, I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are indifferent.
Blasé.
The initial tremors of unease in Ryan and Blake's seemingly idyllic world were subtle, almost imperceptible at first, easily dismissed as the usual background noise of Hollywood chatter. These whispers, confined to hushed conversations amongst industry insiders, spoke of a growing complexity and strain beneath the surface of their meticulously crafted public persona. The focus of these nascent rumors centered increasingly on Blake's ambitious foray into producing and starring in the film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's emotionally charged novel, It Ends With Us, a project helmed by director and co-writer Justin Baldoni. On the surface, this venture appeared to be a resounding career triumph for Blake, a golden opportunity to truly showcase her dramatic range and depth in a narrative that resonated deeply with a vast readership. Early press releases and carefully managed leaks painted a picture of unwavering dedication from Blake, emphasizing her profound connection to the source material and highlighting how her undeniable star power would be instrumental in propelling the film's marketing campaign to unprecedented heights. Concurrently, Ryan, ever the master of public perception, played his role to perfection, projecting an image of unwavering support and enthusiasm for his wife's endeavors. Their signature comedic banter continued to flourish on social media, those carefully orchestrated, seemingly spontaneous exchanges designed to reinforce the narrative of an effortlessly smooth and harmonious partnership. Everything, to the casual observer, appeared to be perfectly on track, a testament to their enduring love and professional synergy. However, beneath this carefully constructed veneer of marital and professional bliss, a disquieting undercurrent was beginning to stir, a sense that all was not as seamless and effortless as it seemed. The initial whispers suggested personality clashes, perhaps creative disagreements typical of any film production, but as time wore on, the nature of the rumors began to darken, hinting at something far more calculated and potentially damaging brewing beneath the surface.
It's believing that people and humanity are inherently good, and they crave nutritious food in their soul, just as they do in their bodies.
Rob McElhenney, a figure whose reputation within Hollywood is built on a foundation of blunt honesty, disarming candor, and a distinct lack of tolerance for manufactured pretenses, began to hear rumblings, fragmented stories that simply didn't align with the usual, often harmless Hollywood gossip mill. His credibility in this unfolding drama stems not only from his own respected standing within the industry, but crucially from his long-standing, genuinely warm friendship and professional collaboration with Ryan Reynolds himself. It was precisely this close bond that made the initial whispers so jarring, so difficult to reconcile with his established perception of Ryan and Blake. According to Rob's account, what started as vague industry murmurs gradually coalesced into a more defined, deeply unsettling narrative. A meticulously crafted, almost Machiavellian master plan allegedly being set in motion. This wasn't just about navigating typical behind-the-scenes tensions or managing the usual creative egos on a film set. This was something far more strategic, far more deliberately orchestrated, hinting at a level of pre-planning and manipulation that shocked even seasoned Hollywood veterans. At first, the very notion that Ryan, a man he genuinely considered a close friend, someone whose inherent good humor and apparent laid-back nature seemed so genuine, could be centrally involved in such a calculated and potentially damaging scheme was almost incomprehensible to Rob. Their shared history, built not merely on shared comedic sensibilities, but on a foundation of mutual respect and what he believed to be genuine camaraderie, made the accusations seem almost absurd. Yet as more disparate details, initially fragmented and seemingly unrelated, began to filter through to him from various sources, Rob started to discern a disturbing pattern emerging. The pieces, individually insignificant, began to click into place, forming a coherent, albeit deeply unsettling picture. A picture he could no longer simply dismiss as unfounded rumor or industry speculation. In hushed, private conversations with a select circle of trusted confidants, Rob cautiously hinted at the growing unease he felt, suggesting that he possessed information that, should the situation escalate further, he might feel compelled to reveal publicly, a quiet promise of a truth bomb waiting to be detonated.
And being frank, if it were not for women giving me direct feedback in my own personal life and being a man who was willing to at least listen to them, there's no chance that I would be having this conversation. So the message, to answer your question, the message is very simple. As men, we need to embrace all of the parts of us that make us human. That's it. It's very simple.
As principal photography for It Ends With Us finally commenced, the initial generalized whispers of tension began to take on a more specific and concerning form. Early reports filtering out from the set hinted at a palpable friction developing between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Sources initially unnamed and discreet whispered of clashes in creative vision, with some suggesting that Blake found Baldoni's directorial style to be overly restrictive, stifling her own creative input and interpretation of the character. Fans, accustomed to the inherent drama and occasional ego clashes that are almost synonymous with Hollywood productions, particularly those involving high-profile personalities and emotionally charged narratives, initially downplayed these reports. They chalked it up to the inevitable artistic differences that arise when strong personalities and distinct creative visions collide, especially when sharing the intensely collaborative and often pressurized environment of a film set. After all, Justin Baldoni was not merely the director and co-writer of It Ends With Us, he was also a prominent lead actor in the film, wielding considerable influence across virtually every facet of the production, from casting decisions to on-set dynamics. But the initial whispers of creative friction soon morphed into something darker, more insidious. The rumors began to escalate in both frequency and intensity, shifting from vague artistic disagreements to more pointed and potentially damaging accusations. Whispers began circulating, gaining traction within industry circles and even seeping into online gossip forums, suggesting that someone remarkably close to Blake, a trusted confidant perhaps, was strategically and with calculated precision feeding negative tidbits, carefully curated fragments of information to select tabloid outlets. These carefully placed leaks were designed to paint Justin Baldoni in an increasingly unflattering light, portraying him as difficult to work with, perhaps even unprofessional or insensitive on set. Initially, the widespread assumption, fueled by carefully managed public relations narratives, narratives was that Blake was simply acting in self-defense, proactively pushing back against what she perceived as unfair treatment or a challenging on-set environment. The narrative, as it was initially presented, positioned Blake as a resilient actress navigating difficult circumstances, a sympathetic figure standing her ground against perceived adversity. However, Rob McElhenney's bombshell revelations have dramatically and perhaps irrevocably overturned this initial carefully constructed narrative, painting a vastly different and far more disturbing picture of the events that allegedly transpired behind the scenes.
I mean, I internalized that as opportunity. Like, we had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something and to have the opportunity to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yes.
As someone who is so deeply passionate myself, I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are
At the heart of Rob
indifferent.
McElhenney's explosive account lies a truly shocking, almost unbelievable central claim that Ryan and Blake, the seemingly inseparable and universally adored power couple, allegedly orchestrated this entire public drama, this carefully constructed narrative of on-set conflict and artistic tension as part of a far more ambitious, deeply calculated, and potentially ruthless game. Their alleged objective, according to Rob, was not merely to navigate the complexities of a film production, but to strategically leverage the film's release, coupled with a series of cunningly orchestrated manipulations to achieve a far grander, more transformative goal: to catapult Blake Lively to an entirely new echelon of influence and power within the fiercely competitive landscape of Hollywood. The intricate strategy, as meticulously detailed by Rob, purportedly hinged on a calculated campaign to deliberately cultivate and then expertly exploit public sympathy for Blake. The aim was to position her as a misunderstood actress, a talented and dedicated professional allegedly forced to endure exceptionally challenging working conditions under an overbearing and difficult director, Justin Baldoni. The alleged logic was chillingly pragmatic. The more perceived conflict and behind-the-scenes drama that the voracious tabloid media would devour and amplify, the greater the overall public attention and media buzz surrounding the "It Ends With Us" project would become. And crucially, this heightened attention, fueled by carefully managed leaks and strategically crafted narratives, would provide Blake with an unparalleled platform to shape and control the overarching public perception of both the film and, more importantly, her own burgeoning career. Rob goes even further, asserting that Ryan Reynolds, leveraging his extensive and deeply entrenched network of industry connections and influence, allegedly played a pivotal behind-the-scenes role in ensuring that the rumor mill remained not just active, but actively churning out stories favorable to Blake, all while meticulously and strategically protecting her carefully curated public image as the wronged, sympathetic victim in this manufactured drama. It is an accusation of breathtaking audacity, a truly startling and deeply unsettling revelation that completely, and perhaps irreparably, redefines the entire narrative surrounding the "It Ends With Us" production. Far from being a supportive, albeit passive, bystander in his wife's career ambitions, Ryan Reynolds, according to Rob's account, may have been a central architect actively enabling and orchestrating this hidden strategy from its very inception, all while maintaining the carefully constructed facade of the lighthearted, eternally supportive spouse, a public image now potentially shattered beyond repair.
But I was like just tracking him down, and then I finally got to read the script, and the script was a thriller. So that was a little confusing to me because he's like such a funny director.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know, what is this? Because the script is definitely like a twisting, turning, intense thriller. Is it a comedy or a thriller? And he said, yes. So then every day on set, I was like, is today a comedy or is it a thriller?
It's a good mix
and
of
it's
both.
like, yeah, it's like really kind of over the top and campy and trashy and fun and like, you know, kind of like my outfit, I guess.
The shift from whispered rumors to a full-blown Hollywood scandal began when Rob McElhenney, deeply troubled by what he had learned and increasingly convinced of the veracity of his sources, made the pivotal decision to confide in a highly respected and ethically sound entertainment journalist. This critical turning point in the unfolding drama was directly precipitated by the unexpected emergence of a series of private text messages that allegedly contained verbatim transcripts of private digital exchanges between Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and several key individuals directly involved in the production of It Ends With Us. The precise content of these leaked text messages, while not fully available to the public, has been described by those who have reviewed them as deeply revealing and profoundly damaging to the carefully constructed narrative surrounding Blake and Ryan. Crucially, within these digital exchanges, Blake purportedly used the coded term dragons to refer to what some insiders interpret as her closely guarded inner circle of trusted and highly influential allies, with Ryan Reynolds allegedly occupying the position of chief strategist and orchestrator within this powerful network. The leaked text strongly suggested that this dragon network was being strategically deployed with a singular, overarching objective to aggressively assert and maintain iron-fisted control over all critical aspects of the film's post-production process, from editing decisions and musical scoring to final cut approvals. Furthermore, the messages allegedly detailed a meticulously planned and coordinated strategy to dominate and manipulate the film's pre-release press campaign and subsequent public reception, ensuring that the narrative remained firmly aligned with Blake's desired image and strategic objectives. The interpretations of these messages, as presented by Rob and those who have reviewed the leaked content, paint a starkly unflattering picture, an operation that was demonstrably less about genuinely safeguarding Blake's best creative or professional interests, and far more about ruthlessly orchestrating a carefully crafted scenario in which she could consistently emerge as the heroic protagonist, the sympathetic figure overcoming adversity, regardless of the actual, often far more complex and nuanced events that had transpired behind the heavily guarded closed doors of the film set. For Rob McElhenney, the cumulative impact of these revelations, the stark evidence presented within the leaked text messages, felt like a profound and deeply personal betrayal. He had genuinely considered Ryan Reynolds not just a colleague, but a true friend, a trusted confidant. He had admired Blake Lively for her undeniable talent, her sharp wit, and her seemingly genuine down-to-earth persona. The dawning realization that they might be secretly, and with such calculated precision, be steering a complex and potentially damaging agenda designed to systematically manipulate the news cycle, to deceive the public, and potentially to unfairly tarnish the reputations of others, shook him to his very core, forcing him to confront a deeply unsettling truth about individuals he had once held in high regard.
She said, just read it, because I was looking for movies that could be commercial and speak to the human experience. And
Were you reading romance novels?
And I had never read a romance novel.
Never?
And she said, just trust me, read it. So I read it, and by the end of the book, I couldn't even read the text on the page because I was crying so much. My wife was in bed next to me, and she's, I got snot coming out of my nose.
Rob McElhenney's initial reaction to the mounting evidence, the increasingly damning text messages and corroborating accounts, was reportedly one of profound disbelief, bordering on outright denial. He struggled to reconcile the image of Ryan and Blake he held in his mind with the Machiavellian figures being depicted in these emerging narratives. However, as more text messages surfaced, each one seemingly adding another layer of complexity and calculation to the alleged scheme, and as corroborating testimonies began to emerge from various members of the It Ends With Us production team, a stark and unavoidable realization began to dawn within him. He confided in a small circle of mutual acquaintances, individuals who also occupied positions of trust within the industry, and to his surprise, several of them admitted that they too had been hearing similar unsettling whispers, that they too felt a growing unease about the unfolding situation and the increasingly credible accusations being leveled against Ryan and Blake. Finally, faced with what he perceived as mounting and irrefutable evidence, and driven by a sense of moral obligation to those he believed were being unfairly targeted and potentially harmed by this alleged manipulation, Rob McElhenney reached a critical juncture. He concluded that the only responsible and ethically justifiable course of action was to step decisively into the increasingly volatile public arena and offer his own first-hand account of what he had learned, what he had witnessed, and what he now believed to be the disturbing truth. His hope, he stated, was that by publicly disclosing his concerns, by shining a harsh light on the alleged machinations, he might be able to prevent further irreparable damage, especially to those individuals who had been, in his view, completely blindsided and unfairly victimized by this carefully orchestrated fiasco. In his carefully worded public statements, Rob deliberately emphasized that while minor disagreements and creative clashes are an inherent and often unavoidable aspect of any film production, what had allegedly transpired on the set of It Ends With Us appeared to be qualitatively different, far more deliberately orchestrated, and significantly more damaging than typical Hollywood set drama. He pointed specifically to what he described as a series of carefully timed leaks, strategically disseminated to select media outlets, all meticulously designed to paint Justin Baldoni in an overwhelmingly negative light, portraying him as an overbearing and insensitive director, perhaps even suggesting unprofessional conduct on set. Tabloid headlines, seemingly echoing these strategically placed leaks, began to surface, subtly hinting at allegations of Justin Baldoni invading Blake's personal space, undermining her creative autonomy, and even exhibiting a shocking lack of sensitivity towards her postpartum needs as a new mother returning to work. Rob contends with increasing conviction that these damaging claims, whether entirely fabricated or significantly exaggerated, were at least partially amplified and disseminated through Ryan Reynolds' calculated behind-the-scenes maneuvering, part of a larger, more insidious strategy to control the narrative and manipulate public perception. According to Rob's increasingly damning account, the couple allegedly coldly calculated that by successfully cultivating a pervasive narrative of public sympathy for Blake, by strategically positioning her as the wronged and victimized party, they could not only dramatically elevate her public image and solidify her status as a beloved and resilient star, but also effectively overshadow any potential professional stumbles or negative press associated with the It Ends With Us project itself. The almost immediate and unavoidable mention of Amber Heard's name in connection with this unfolding Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively drama sparked an unsettling, almost chilling sense of déjà vu within the collective consciousness of Hollywood observers and online commentators alike. The parallels between the two unfolding public relations disasters, while differing in specific details and the personalities involved, are undeniably striking and deeply concerning. In both high-profile cases, the public initially, and with seemingly genuine empathy, rallied behind a prominent female star who presented herself as the wronged party, the victim of unfair media scrutiny, and targeted malicious campaigns. In both instances, however, as new, previously suppressed, or strategically withheld evidence began to surface, meticulously documented, and often in the form of digital communications, public sentiment underwent a dramatic and often brutal reversal. The initial outpouring of sympathy and support rapidly eroded, replaced by a wave of skepticism, disbelief, and in some cases, outright condemnation. This dramatic shift in public opinion, fueled by the emergence of contradictory narratives and previously unseen evidence, led many to retrospectively and often painfully reconsider their initial assumptions, forcing them to confront the uncomfortable possibility that they might have been manipulated, that they might have been actively supporting a carefully constructed yet ultimately misleading version of events. While the specific details and legal entanglements differ significantly between the Amber Heard saga and the unfolding Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively controversy, the overarching structure of the public relations crisis, the strategic deployment of carefully curated narratives, and the devastating impact of subsequently revealed contradictory evidence feels eerily, almost unnervingly similar. Both cases are characterized by a complex web of contradictory text messages, fiercely contested disputes over behind-the-scenes events and personal interactions, and persistent, increasingly credible rumors of systematic and calculated media manipulation, allegedly orchestrated by specific individuals for their own personal and professional gain. However, perhaps the most perplexing and intellectually challenging element of the Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively situation is the alleged central role of Ryan Reynolds himself in this unfolding drama. Ryan, for years, has meticulously cultivated and successfully projected a public image of effortless charm, affable laid-back demeanor, and comedic brilliance. His carefully constructed persona is built upon a foundation of self-deprecating humor, genuine warmth, and an almost universally perceived lack of pretension. The very notion that this beloved and seemingly uncomplicated figure, this master of comedic timing and on-screen charisma, could actually be playing a key, perhaps even orchestrating role in such an elaborate, strategically complex, and potentially deeply damaging plan is a level of cognitive dissonance that few initially anticipated or were willing to accept. It challenges, fundamentally, the carefully crafted public image of a celebrity who has built his career and brand on approachability, relatability, and an almost disarming lack of perceived artifice. The unfolding drama forces the public to confront a deeply uncomfortable question. Is it possible that the charming, seemingly transparent persona of Ryan Reynolds is itself a carefully constructed performance, masking a far more calculating, strategically minded, and potentially manipulative individual operating beneath the surface of his beloved public image? It is a level of complexity and calculated deception that few in Hollywood Hollywood, and even fewer in the wider public had ever anticipated or even considered within the realm of possibility, profoundly shaking the foundations of trust and perception within the often illusory world of celebrity image management. Rob insists he initially sought to resolve this privately, urging Ryan to clarify. However, mounting evidence, texts, production accounts revealed not just spin, but a calculated plan. The lawyer's departure underscored the gravity of the accusations. The alleged evil plan aimed for two goals: Blake's superstardom and their power couple status. Parallels to past scandals are stark, yet Justin Baldoni's transparent response contrasts sharply with the silence from Ryan and Blake. Now, their brand faces scrutiny, deals are at risk, and fans are divided. Will they mount a defense, or is their carefully built facade crumbling? The truth remains elusive, but Rob McElhenney's expose has undeniably cast a long shadow, defining Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's future in Hollywood for years to come.